Jesus. One generation after another says good things about him. People seem to want Jesus on their side. It's been 2,000 years since he walked on the earth, but Jesus is still talked about as much as ever. Cross necklaces and Jesus tattoos abound. Some wear Jesus t-shirts. He's even admired by people who don't call themselves Christians. No matter how you look at it, Jesus is probably the most famous person in history. No one has been painted more frequently and written about or sung to. No person has affected human history as much as Jesus. But who is Jesus, really? Jesus never wrote his own book, but he taught day after day in public, and several of his friends wrote down much of what he taught. And what they recorded is our most reliable account of what Jesus really had to say about himself. Jesus was a great teacher, no doubt about it. Everyone seems to agree on that. He's likely the best teacher who's ever lived, and many of his sayings are recognized and familiar. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Do not judge others so that you will not be judged. Our Father who art in heaven. And the list goes on. And it's significant that his friends each record him saying these things just once. But Jesus didn't think about himself as just a teacher. And there's only one thing that Jesus' friends Matthew, Mark, and Luke record 3 times each. And that was Jesus' teaching that he was going to die and rise again. Matthew, the 16th chapter, is the first place we encounter Jesus explicitly talking about his death. It says, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must be killed and on the 3rd day be raised. Then again in the next chapter, Jesus says that he is about to be delivered into the hands of men. And they'll kill him, and he'll be raised on the 3rd day. Then the 3rd time, this one in Matthew chapter 20, Jesus said to his disciples, "See, we're going up to Jerusalem, the city where he was going to be killed. And the Son of Man," talking about himself, "will be delivered over to the chief priests and scribes, and they'll condemn him to death and will deliver him over to the Gentiles, the non-Jewish Romans, to be mocked and flogged and crucified, and he'll be raised on the 3rd day." And again, both Mark and Luke also record Jesus clearly teaching about his death and resurrection at least 3 times each before he died. Notably, more than he teaches on any other subject. Jesus just wasn't a political martyr. The political leaders couldn't find any real fault in Jesus. So why did they kill him? The ultimate answer is that God wanted it this way and orchestrated the details to bring it about. That's why Jesus knew it was going to happen. But why in the world would God want that? And why did Jesus so willingly comply? The reason is this: because humanity as a whole and every individual human being has rebelled against God by not living how God, our Maker, intended. And because of this, we all deserve to be punished forever. That's the appropriate punishment for belittling a God who deserves infinite respect. But in his perfect love, God found a way to save rebellious humans without compromising his perfect standard of justice by sending Jesus, who was his eternal divine Son, to share in our humanity, to live flawlessly in step with God's intentions, to die to pay for our rebellion, and finally to rise again in victory over damnable failures. That is what Christians call the good news, or the gospel. The good news is that there is a way out of the punishment that we deserve. And this way out is through both the most famous and also the most spiritually attractive person who's ever lived, Jesus. The same Jesus who said he came to give his life for a ransom for many. So why, again, did Jesus die? He died so that humans don't have to spend eternity apart from their Maker, but can be brought into a real relationship with him by trusting in Jesus' sacrifice and enjoying the person Jesus is. Getting connected with Jesus isn't something that you can earn. You can't do anything to gain His favor and get yourself right with God. The only thing you can do is something that's really not doing at all. That's trusting that Jesus and His sacrifice are enough to take care of you. If you'd like more info on Jesus, and there's much more to say than what I've said here, we'd love for you to check out our church. But not because we have all the answers, but because we believe what Jesus' friends wrote in the Bible is true. And the Bible is the source of reliable info. You know, you could read the Bible yourself. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, these would all be good places to start. Thanks for your time, and thanks for your interest in Jesus.